The scorching midday sun bore down mercilessly on the crowded streets of New Haven. Sweat dripped from the brow of a man as he ran, his worn-out shoes barely keeping up with the uneven pavement. His chest heaved, his mind raced, and every step carried the weight of fear and desperation. In his arms, he clutched a small, trembling hand, the hand of his daughter, Sophie, barely 6 years old. "Please," he whispered under his breath, "please, I have a daughter." That single line echoed through his soul, a plea that could not be ignored by anyone who crossed his path. Today was not just another day, it was the day his entire world teetered on the edge of disaster. Before I continue, if you believe in kindness and second chances, make sure to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel, Thread of Kindness. Trust me, this story will stay with you. Ethan Calder was a man familiar with hardship, his life defined by sacrifices that few could ever comprehend. A single father, he had spent the last 3 years juggling 2 jobs while raising Sophie alone. Her mother had walked away shortly after Sophie's birth, leaving a trail of broken promises and unpaid bills behind her. Ethan's days were a relentless grind of exhaustion and uncertainty, his nights a quiet battleground of worry and sleeplessness. Yet, despite it all, he never let Sophie feel the full weight of their struggles. She deserved laughter, warmth, and safety, even if the world had been cruel to them. That afternoon, a routine errand had spiraled into chaos. Ethan had brought Sophie to a small boutique to pick up a birthday dress for her best friend's party. Sophie twirled among the racks of vibrant fabric, giggling as the sunlight streamed through the glass storefront. Ethan's mind, however, was elsewhere, always alert to threats, always calculating, always aware of the fragility of their situation. It was then, in the midst of the boutique's quiet elegance, that the incident occurred. A commotion erupted near the changing rooms. Ethan froze, heart hammering, as he caught sight of a man, immaculately dressed, radiating power and authority, standing in front of a half-open door. Inside, a young woman was startled, caught mid-motion as she adjusted her outfit. The man's presence was intimidating, his eyes sharp and assessing. Ethan recognized the fear in the woman's expression immediately. He didn't know her, but instinct screamed that she was vulnerable and in danger. Without thinking, he lunged forward. "Please," he shouted, voice raw with urgency. "I have a daughter. Don't do this." The room went silent. The woman froze, shocked, while the man's gaze flicked between Ethan and the scene he had been confronting. And then something unexpected happened. Instead of anger, the man's eyes softened, an odd, almost human flicker of hesitation. He wasn't some villain Ethan had imagined. He was someone else entirely. Her name was Vivienne Kane, and she was the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the country. The kind of woman whose name could make headlines in an instant, whose life was an endless whirlwind of board meetings, press conferences, and high-stakes decisions. Ethan, however, saw her in a light no headline ever could capture, just a woman caught off guard, vulnerable in the middle of a mundane moment. His gaze lingered not on her status or reputation, but on the humanity she radiated even in that tense instant. "Sir," Vivienne said, voice steady but trembling slightly, I'm fine." Her words, though brief, carried the weight of 1,000 hidden battles. Ethan, still holding Sophie close, nodded, understanding that fear could be paralyzing, but courage, even the smallest kind, could shine through. The man, whose intimidating aura had filled the room moments ago, finally spoke. "I apologize," he said, voice calm and measured. "I didn't mean to intrude." There was something in his tone, a subtle acknowledgement of wrongs, that made Ethan's fists unclench. The tension eased slightly, though the undercurrent of urgency never left him. Ethan led Sophie back toward the front of the boutique, heart still racing. He had done it. He had protected the innocent, but he knew the world rarely handed out clear victories. Life was messier, darker, more complicated. Yet, there was a spark now, a flicker of something unfamiliar. Even in that brief encounter, the man, the CEO, Vivienne, had looked at him differently. As if seeing not just a single father struggling to survive, but a man capable of immense courage and depth of love. Over the next few weeks, Ethan couldn't shake the memory of that moment. Every time he passed by the boutique, his heart leapt in memory of Vivienne's startled eyes, her quiet strength, and the odd sense of connection that had sparked. And then, almost miraculously, their paths crossed again, this time at a local charity event aimed at helping single parents and their children. Vivienne was there not as a CEO, but as a human being committed to giving back. She approached Ethan cautiously, aware of the boundaries yet curious about the man whose presence had disrupted her life in the boutique. "Ethan, isn't it?" she said softly, extending a hand. "I wanted to thank you, for standing up, for being brave. You didn't have to, but you did." Ethan felt a lump form in his throat. Recognition, appreciation, and an unspoken understanding surged between them. "It wasn't bravery," he said quietly. "It was necessity. My daughter, she's all I have. I'll do whatever it takes." Sophie, clutching a small balloon from the charity, peeked shyly from behind his legs. Vivienne's expression softened further, touched by the tenderness she could see between father and daughter. Weeks turned into months, and what began as fleeting encounters developed into a bond neither could deny. Ethan, cautious yet intrigued, began to understand that Vivienne's life was not as untouchable as headlines suggested. Her wealth and influence, impressive as they were, could not shield her from loneliness, self-doubt, or the quiet despair of personal struggles. And Vivienne, in turn, witnessed firsthand the relentless devotion Ethan poured into Sophie's upbringing, the small sacrifices, the unwavering love, the quiet heroism that went unnoticed by the world. One afternoon, as golden sunlight spilled through the windows of Ethan's modest apartment, Vivienne found herself watching Sophie complete a drawing of their little family. The image, simple yet profound, captured something she could not put into words. Ethan, kneeling beside Sophie, encouraged her with gentle smiles and soft words. In that moment, Vivienne realized that true strength wasn't measured in power, prestige, or wealth. It was measured in love, sacrifice, and resilience. But life, as it often does, would not make things easy. A crisis struck the tech company Vivienne led, one that demanded her immediate attention and threatened the delicate balance she had begun to nurture with Ethan and Sophie. Board members clashed, investors panicked, and Vivienne found herself pulled in directions she had never imagined. For the first time, she understood fear, not the kind Ethan had faced with Sophie, but the kind that gnawed at one's soul when the weight of the world rested squarely on your shoulders. Through it all, Ethan remained her anchor. Though their worlds were vastly different, he offered perspective, reminding her that even the most powerful individuals needed compassion, support, and the courage to rely on others. Sophie, in her innocent way, became a bridge between their lives, a reminder that joy and hope could thrive even in the midst of chaos. Then, one chilly December evening, a blizzard descended upon the city. Roads became impassable, and a sudden power outage plunged the apartment into darkness. Ethan and Vivienne were stranded together, forced into a night of conversation, reflection, and unguarded truths. By the flickering candlelight, they shared stories of loss, hardship, and quiet victories. Vivienne revealed the loneliness that had haunted her since childhood, the pressures that weighed heavier with each passing year, and the unexpected longing she felt for something genuine, untainted by status or expectation. Ethan, in turn, recounted nights spent comforting Sophie through storms she couldn't yet understand, the fear of failing her, and the fierce love that defined every choice he made. In that shared vulnerability, something shifted. The barriers of wealth, status, and fear melted away. Two souls, scarred yet resilient, recognized the beauty in one another's humanity. And as the first snowflakes melted against the warm glow of candlelight, Ethan and Vivienne found themselves grasping not just at fleeting comfort, but at a profound connection that promised hope, healing, and the possibility of love. Before the story concludes, if this tale has touched your heart, please engage with this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Thread of Kindness. Your support helps us share more stories of courage, love, and second chances that inspire the world. Months later, their lives had intertwined in ways neither could have predicted. Vivienne, once a figure of untouchable power, discovered that true fulfillment came not from accolades or wealth, but from moments of authentic human connection. Ethan, once struggling against the currents of life, realized that even amidst hardship, the universe could deliver unexpected grace. Together, they navigated challenges, celebrated victories, and nurtured Sophie's laughter and dreams. In the quiet moments, Like Sunday mornings filled with pancakes and giggles, or late nights reading bedtime stories by the soft glow of a lamp, the world outside seemed to fade. And in those moments, the simple truth was undeniable. Courage, kindness, and love were forces that could change destinies, heal wounds, and light the darkest paths. To commemorate this story, remember that every act of bravery, no matter how small, can ripple far beyond what the eye can see. Even a single plea, "Please, I have a daughter," can become the spark that ignites hope, transformation, and profound human connection. Ethan and Vivienne's story became one not defined by circumstance, but by choice, the choice to protect, to care, to love, and to believe in the extraordinary potential of second chances. And as Sophie laughed and ran through the sunlit streets, hand in hand with the two people who had become her anchors, the world seemed just a little brighter, a little warmer, and infinitely more kind.